Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest stories. It's funny how life throws these curveballs, isn't it? Moments that shift your perspective, make you see someone you thought you knew in a completely different light. That's what happened to me last summer at my cousin Linda's annual barbecue. Linda and I grew up practically joined at the hip, more sisters than cousins, really. And her husband, Mark, well, Mark was just Mark, solid, dependable, kind of quiet, always there with a helping hand at family gatherings, usually manning the grill or fixing something that inevitably broke whenever our chaotic clan got together. I'd known him for nearly 20 years, ever since Linda brought him home. Nervous, but beaming. He was a good guy, a great husband to Linda, a wonderful father. I liked him, respected him, but I can't say I'd ever thought much deeper than that. He was simply Linda's husband, a fixture in the background tapestry of family life. That summer day was typical, sweltering July heat, the smell of charcoal and sunscreen thick in the air, kids shrieking as they ran through the sprinkler, adults clustered in pockets of shade, nursing iced teas and beers. The backyard was Linda's pride and joy, a riot of colorful flowers bordering a lush green lawn that sloped down towards a small, glittering lake. Mark, predictably, was at the grill, tongs in hand, brow furrowed in concentration as he flipped burgers. I was helping Linda ferry platters of food from the kitchen to the overloaded picnic table. We were laughing about some childhood memory, something involving a runaway canoe and a very angry goose, when I glanced over towards the grill. Mark looked up at the exact same moment. Our eyes met across the crowded yard, and something shifted. It wasn't just a casual glance. It wasn't just acknowledgement. It was different. It's hard to explain. There was an intensity there I'd never seen before, a flicker of something thoughtful, almost searching. It wasn't flirtatious, not in the way you might expect. It was deeper, quieter, like he was seeing me, really seeing me perhaps for the first time, not just as Linda's cousin, but as, well, as me, Sarah, a woman standing there in the sunlight, maybe looking a bit tired, maybe a bit reflective herself. The moment stretched, suspended in the humid air, the noise of the party fading into a dull roar. It felt strangely intimate, that look cutting through the usual family hubbub. He held my gaze for just a few seconds longer than necessary, a faint, almost imperceptible nod passing between us before Linda called his name, asking about the corn on the cob, and the connection broke. He turned back to the grill, and I turned back to Linda, my heart doing a funny little stutter step in my chest. What was that? I tried to brush it off. Maybe it was the heat. Maybe I was reading too much into a simple look. But the feeling lingered, a strange sort of awareness settling over me. Throughout the rest of the afternoon, I found myself subtly watching him, noticing things I hadn't before. The way his hands moved, competent and sure, as he worked the grill, the quiet patience he showed when one of the younger kids came over, demanding attention. The way he listened, really listened, when Uncle Joe started one of his long-winded stories. He wasn't just the quiet background fixture anymore. He seemed more present, more defined. Later, as the afternoon bled into evening and the fireflies started their hesitant blinking dance over the lawn, I found myself near the edge of the lake, watching the sunset paint the water in shades of orange and purple. I needed a moment away from the cheerful chaos. Life had felt a bit overwhelming lately. Work stress, the quiet hum of an empty nest now that my youngest was off to college, the general sense of wondering what now that seemed to accompany hitting my late 50s. The water lapped gently at the shore, a soothing rhythm. Suddenly, Mark was standing beside me. He hadn't made much noise approaching, just appeared, holding 2 bottles of water. He offered one to me, wordlessly. "Thought you might need this," he said, his voice low and calm. "It's still pretty warm." I took it, murmuring my thanks. We stood in silence for a moment, watching the last sliver of sun disappear behind the trees on the far shore. The silence wasn't awkward, though. It felt comfortable, companionable. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" I said softly. He nodded. "Linda loves this view, says it grounds her." He paused, then turned slightly towards me, his profile outlined against the deepening twilight. "She worries about you sometimes, says you seem preoccupied lately." I was surprised. Linda hadn't said anything directly to me, and I was even more surprised that Mark had noticed, or that Linda had shared her concerns with him in a way that he felt comfortable relaying. "Oh, I managed, life stuff. You know how it is." He didn't press, just nodded again. "Yeah," he said quietly, "I know how it is." And in that moment, looking at his silhouette against the fading light, I felt another jolt of that strange connection, that feeling of being seen. It wasn't just Linda's husband standing there. It was a man who seemed to understand something without needing it spelled out. A man who saw a bit of the weight I was carrying. The air felt charged, not with romance, but with a quiet, unexpected understanding. A shared acknowledgement of the complexities of life, offered silently beside a darkening lake. It was unsettling, yet strangely comforting. The way he looked at me wasn't just different. It felt like the beginning of seeing him, and perhaps myself, differently too. The rest of the evening passed in a bit of a haze for me. I rejoined the dwindling group around the citronella candles, laughing and talking, but part of my mind kept replaying that moment by the lake, that earlier look across the yard. It wasn't just the look itself, but the feeling it evoked, a sense of being recognized on a level I hadn't expected, especially not from Mark. He seemed to gravitate subtly closer throughout the evening, not in an overt way, nothing anyone else would notice. But if I was telling a story, I'd find him listening intently. When I went to clear some plates, he was suddenly there, taking the heavier stack without a word. Small gestures, but they felt different now, charged with that new awareness. We ended up sitting near each other on the porch steps as the party wound down, the conversation around us a low murmur. Linda was inside, probably coordinating the cleanup effort or saying goodbye to departing guests. Mark was nursing a beer, swirling the bottle gently. "You handled Uncle Joe well earlier," he commented, a small smile playing on his lips. "He cornered you for a good 20 minutes about his prize-winning tomatoes." I laughed, relieved by the normalcy of the topic. "He's passionate," I conceded. "You need a strategy. Ask leading questions, not a lot, and plan your escape route." Mark chuckled, a warm, genuine sound. "I usually just feign needing another burger," he admitted. "Works every time." We talked easily then about family quirks, about the changing seasons, about nothing and everything. It was the longest, most direct conversation we'd probably ever had that wasn't strictly about logistics or passing pleasantries. What struck me was his perspective. He had this quiet way of observing things, a thoughtful depth I'd completely overlooked for 20 years. He spoke about his work. He was an architect with a quiet passion, not boasting, but explaining the satisfaction of creating something tangible, something useful, and hopefully beautiful. He asked about my job, about my kids, not just polite inquiries, but questions that showed he was genuinely interested in my answers. He remembered details I'd mentioned in passing years ago. It was disarming and incredibly flattering. if I'm being honest. To be listened to like that, to feel like your thoughts and experiences actually mattered to someone you'd previously relegated to the background. There was a subtle tension, yes, but it wasn't the illicit kind you might read about. It was the tension of discovery, of realizing there was more to this person, and perhaps more to yourself in relation to them than you ever imagined. It was the tension of a shared understanding that felt unique and private, even sitting there on crowded porch steps. He mentioned a book he'd just finished, something thoughtful about navigating life's transitions. Made me think, he said simply, looking out into the dark yard, about how we define ourselves after the big chapters close. Kids growing up, career peaks, maybe behind you. His gaze drifted back to me. Seems like you might be navigating some of that too. Again, that sense of being seen. Not judged, not pitted, just understood. It hit a nerve, a vulnerable spot I hadn't even fully acknowledged to myself. I felt my throat tighten slightly. It's an adjustment, I admitted, my voice softer than intended, figuring out the next act. He nodded slowly, his eyes holding mine. There it was again, that look, not pitying, not suggestive, but deeply empathetic. It acknowledged the shared human experience of uncertainty, of searching for meaning as life unfolds. Yeah, he breathed out. It is. In that moment, under the soft glow of the porch light, with the crickets chirping their nightly symphony, a connection was forged, not based on flirtation or desire, but on a sudden, unexpected alignment of understanding, a recognition of shared vulnerability. It felt profound, grounding, and utterly surprising. He hadn't just looked at me differently. He had listened differently, spoken differently. He had shown me a side of himself I never knew existed, and in doing so, held up a mirror that made me look at myself and my own quiet struggles with fresh eyes. The air crackled, not with forbidden energy, but with the quiet intensity of authentic human connection. It was powerful, and I knew somehow that things wouldn't quite be the same again. Not in a dramatic way, perhaps, but in the subtle, internal landscape of my own heart and mind. As people started gathering their things, exchanging hugs and promises to get together again soon, Mark and I stood up from the steps. There was a slight awkwardness, a shared awareness of the shift that had occurred between us. Linda came bustling out, looping her arm through Mark's. "There you are, ready to call it a night?" she asked, smiling warmly at both of us. Mark squeezed her arm gently. Just about Han, he glanced at me, a quick, almost shy look this time, before turning his attention back to Linda. Seeing them together, the easy familiarity, the obvious affection, snapped me back to reality. He was